Well, I guess we're back out here. Yeah, that visits Pikachu in the police station. I almost said Snivy there. That Snivy in the cafe made me think about Snivy's now. But yeah, Snivy's the remixer on YouTube. He owes me a game of Mario Party that he's never made good on, and I don't think intends to. Um, we played Smash Ultimate, him and I, back when I was still doing the Creators Collide series. And at one point he said, "What? I'm not allowed to go there." Okay, well, whatever. At one point I was whooping his butt. He was like, "Next time we're doing Mario Party," and I interpreted that like a blood oath. And you know, I brought it up a couple times to him, but he's just been like, "Oh, I haven't even gotten the new Mario Party, so well, I can't deduce yet." So yeah. So I guess there's that Snivy that's just sleeping on the bench in that cafe there, dreaming about further avoiding playing Mario Party with me. Oh, Tim, your request has been approved by Inspector Holiday. You are now allowed to visit Pikachu.
Thank you.
I swear, if we visit him through, like, you know, like the glass separation, we each pick up a phone or something like that. There's no way that would be the case with Pokemon here. Thank goodness. But before that, Tim, let me explain our Pokemon partner visitation rules. Visits are allowed in the afternoons. You can visit your partner a maximum of twice per day, but they cannot be consecutive visits. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Cannot be consecutive visits. Why would you ever have, like, 2 consecutive visits? Just have one long visit. That you do not consecutively visit someone. That's not how visiting works. You just stay with them for a while. Are you ready to visit your partner? Yeah, I guess so. And follow me. She says as she returns to her default idle pose. Oh my goodness, it basically is. Almost. Well, I finally got to see Pikachu. Wonder how he's holding up. Apologies for the wait. It was Pikachu to see you. So this is the visitation. Cutscene.
Tim!
Pikachu!
Guy notice the companion cube on his back?
Thank goodness. You
Oh,
really
yeah.
had me worried.
The simple animation
Hey,
presets.
Keep your voice down. Don't call attention to us.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so how would this typically go when they assume that, you know, people in Pokemon can't understand one another? I better switch to this layout for this shot. You alright, Pikachu? This all happened so suddenly. I've been really worried. I don't blame ya. Just think, a great detective like me being accused of a crime. The Pokemon Protection Bureau thinks that you broke the Slowpoke statue in Fountain Plaza. Okay, so that's the evil organization of this game, is the Pokemon Protection Bureau. I took a look around the scene myself. The statue fragments I found were electrified. That means the culprit is a Pokemon that can use electric-type moves. Hey, wait a minute. I can't use any moves! Don't worry, I know. You couldn't be the culprit. But I can't tell the PPB anything you said. They'd never believe me. If you tell them Pikachu says he's innocent, they're just gonna look at you funny. I want you to tell me everything you know, Pikachu. We're going to prove your innocence. So, how would this realistically work? Like, what is the assumed intelligence level of Pokemon by humans? You know, because there's lots of humans in this world that say, like, oh, Pokemon can't understand people. Lots that seem to assume that they can. And, like, what do they assume that their general knowledge level is? Like, because you can't exactly place a creature under arrest for a crime that they literally do not even understand at all. Like, imagine, you know, a dog went and peed on someone's private property, and then the police came and just like, all right, we're booking you. Let's put you on trial. Like, this seems like animal abuse, you know, but what do I know? Because, you know, they can't exactly understand what's going on, is what I assume a lot of people would assume. Or do they just assume that every Pokemon can understand humans and has, like, human-level knowledge and can, you know, follow human laws? You know, like, this has me questioning what just, like, the cultural landscape is and, like, the assumed, you know, knowledge of Pokemon is here in this world. It just leaves me kind of confused. Why don't you tell me everything you know, Pikachu? I'm going to prove your innocence. I knew I could depend on you. Sure, ask away. Are they not going to notice the cube at all? Like, this is straight up going to be like that last investigation, where the in-game characters need to wait until something is like so much in their face that it's impossible not to notice. I mean, it's getting pretty close to that point already with these cubes, but you know, how did they not pocket one of them before? That Mewtwo shed. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the characters in this game just have to be like the dumbest characters I've ever seen in a video game in my life. And this is a game of being a detective, for crying out loud. It's supposed to be great detectives. Oh, you were doing last night. Can you tell me what you were doing last night? After we split up, I headed to the High Hat Cafe. I wanted to sit and think over what happened last night, and how all the cases we've handled so far might be connected, in the last 60 seconds. I needed coffee. Stopped by the plaza on my way to the cafe, but at that point, the Slowpoke statue was unharmed. Okay. Yeah, it's a span of about, like, 4 or 5 seconds before I can advance the text. Were there any other Pokemon around at that time? Maybe ones that could use electric-type moves? Oh, I didn't see any. Culprit must have arrived after I left. I see. Well, how about after you got to the cafe? Anything strange happen? Oh, they mention it. While I was relaxing in the cafe, I remember hearing a loud clap of thunder or something outside. Thunder, huh? That might have been the sound of the electric-type move that damaged the statue. About what time did you hear the sound? I don't remember the exact time, but I know that the evening news was on when I heard the noise. Yeah, that was what Pablo said, was that Pikachu was there when the evening news was on as well. Thanks, Pikachu. I'm sure this information will come in handy. So we figure out what time the evening news was playing, and then that pinpoints the time that, you know, that happened. Even though, you know, evening news isn't exactly on just like one time. It's on for like a span. But I bet within the context of this, we're gonna, you know, figure out what time that it was on. Exactly to a T. Like right at a point. Even though that's not how programs work. You know, but that's probably what's gonna happen here, isn't it? Thanks, Pikachu. I'm sure this information will come in handy. What have you been up to since the arrest? What happened after Brad took you away? I fell asleep in the car. By the time I woke up, I was in the detainment room. We're not gonna ask about that cube at all. Wait, you fell asleep in the car? Was it especially comfortable or something? More than any other car, I suppose. Not sure why I zonked out, because the cube on your back. It's not the only strange thing that's happened, though. There have been times in the station where I've just lost my memory. Wait, what? One moment I'll be in the detainment room, the next I'll be up on the roof with no idea how I got there. I heard an announcement that it was time to exercise, but I don't remember walking there myself. It sounds like someone's using hypnosis on you. Or the cube on... I haven't seen any Pokemon here that can use a move like that, though. I'm sure that some Pokemon, like Sableye and that Gen 8 goofy guy, could probably use hypnosis. If I've had to guess, Leapard might be able to as well. I don't know. Situation in the station. I got a bad feeling about this station. The whole place seems off. All the other Pokemon here keep giving me a hard time. I think I drew too much attention. One even knocked me out with a move earlier. What? Are you okay? You're not injured, are you? No, nothing serious. But boy, does it still sting. It was a pretty strong attack. Well, I'm glad you're alright, but try to stay out of trouble, okay? Don't worry about me. I'll be more careful next time. I hope you and the others can learn to get along. About how many other Pokemon are being held with you? I've met 5 others. All of them have a weird gizmo stuck on their backs, too, come to think of it. Oh! Oh! But yeah, also because of people who can't normally understand Pokemon, then why is this a human visitation room? Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, like to speak there, it doesn't make sense. Probably a tag or something that PPB are using to keep track of us. Yeah, that's probably all it is. That's true. They may also be able to use it to track you. No grand escape plans, okay? Me? Escape? I never. I'm gonna get out of here the right way. By proving my innocence. Oh my god. They really just think it's a tracker. And it doesn't have anything to do with any of the strangeness going on. They're not going to bring up anything about how it was seen on the Pokemon that attacked us in the ruins. Or the Beedrill with Mewtwo. Or there was a whole bunch of them on Mewtwo. And Mewtwo shed them off. And we could have pocketed them and investigated them. But no. It's just like, oh yeah. just so happened to notice while in detainment here that there are these cubes on Pokemon's backs. It's probably just a tracker or something though. Like, oh my god. The level of stupidity. Based on what you told me, I think I can pin down where you were when the crime took place. Yeah, I think I can too. Oh, really? Yeah. Yes. What do you take me for? Yeah. So let me look back over my case. Do I have to deduce this? Are you shitting me?
Let's think.
Oh my god. Where was Pikachu when the crime occurred? Oh my god.
Okay.
Pikachu said he heard the sound of thunder outside the cafe during the evening news. Pablo said Pikachu was inside the cafe when the news was on. That proves Pikachu was not at the scene of the crime when it occurred. He was at the Hi Hat Cafe. I've known that for like the past 20 minutes.
Whoa!
I know this goes without saying, Tim, but I'm innocent. I gotta find out who really did this. Oh, I thought it might be a cutscene again. I don't know why it faded through. Did it really just fade through black just to have Tim turn 90 degrees? Because having him turn 90 degrees is a little bit too hard to animate. My god, Pokemon ads fade through blacks. Hang in there, Pikachu. I'm gonna find the Pokemon that did this. Thanks, Tim. I'm counting on you. Just be careful while you investigate. Don't forget you're tracking down a Pokemon that can use powerful electric-type moves. I mean, most Pokemon can use moves. So there's a threat, you know, one way or another if we're tracking down a Pokemon of any kind. You know, Pikachu, you're kind of the outlier by not being able to use moves. Don't worry, Pikachu. I'll try not to get knocked out like you did. Had to bring that up, didn't you? Oh, well, as long as you understand. Chief Butler said he has proof that you committed the crime, Pikachu. So maybe there's another Pikachu here in Rhyme City. Another Pikachu besides me? Yeah, we saw one in the first game. I think it's a little early to make that conclusion, but I'll admit it's possible. We literally had a cutscene with one in the first game, where Tim mistook this random other Pikachu for Detective Pikachu. I'll keep investigating what I can here in the station. There are a few other things nagging at me, too. Okay, I'll keep questioning people in the city.
You'll get out soon. Just hang in there.
Time's up. Hold on. We're not done yet.
Like...
What's wrong, Pikachu?
Oh, it would have been so funny if he just, like, fell off and face planted.
Huh? That light.
Is there something going on with the cubes? Entertainment Day 1, Tim Evening. So is this gonna go across multiple days? Is that what's going on here? Pikachu was acting really strange just now. Maybe that's what he meant when he was talking about losing his memory. I'm curious about that cube-shaped device on his back, too. It's about time to meet Inspector Holiday. I'll run all my questions by him. We had the opportunity to pocket like a dozen of those cube-shaped devices after all the ones that Mewtwo shed. But no! Do we just leave them on the ground? Just like litter there? Do we not do anything? We just left them there? Like, really? There you are, Tim. Just as we agreed. Inspector Holiday. Sorry to drag you out like this. I know it must be a rough time for you. Now, I'd love to start a chat right away. This might not be the best place. I swear, I go into these streams like not even all that sleepy, and then this game makes me sleepy. Let's talk over there. I just can't control myself. Thanks so much for arranging my visit with Pikachu, Inspector. That was the least I could do. I take it you were able to see him. Yes, thanks to you, but... You don't look too happy. Oh, I'm happy that I got to see him, but I feel like there's even more to worry about now. Did something happen? Before we get into that, Inspector, do you mind if I ask you some questions? Of course I don't mind. Go right ahead. Oh, Pikachu's detainment. Did you know that Pikachu was going to be detained, Inspector? Oh, I was as surprised as you were. Apparently, Mayor Myers wants a PPB to detain more Pokemon. Oh, yeah. So the mayor, what was her face? Rachel, I think was the name of the chick in this one. Her dad. He's the evil one. Chief Butler's been detaining any Pokemon he thinks may be a problem. Alright, yeah, I think the mystery of this game is solved. To be fair, the evidence he presents always makes for an open and shut case. So obtaining the Pokemon isn't without jurisdiction, but... What? Is there something that bothers you? Man, playing this makes me want to just, like, go, like, close this and play Phoenix Wright instead. You know, cases where you actually do very slowly figure it out. It's not, like, halfway through where it's like, alright, we know exactly what happened, you know, and can present that. No, like, the cases in the Ace Attorney games are always, like, you get more and more of the picture slowly coming together until at the end it's like, holy shit, so that's what happened, you know? Like, especially, like, the really long cases. They're awesome. I love those. Playing this game just makes me want to go play Ace Attorney instead, like, so badly. Its aggressive approach is concerning. It's got the PPB rounding up Pokemon left and right. They're not even gathering testimonies from residents. He won't even allow it. Figured it out? It's definitely the mayor that wants to control all the Pokemon and pass the bill that gives him the right to, like, mind control them and stuff, and detain all of them and stuff to build up his army. And maybe he's just gonna be like Getsis or something like that, where he's just like, oh, when I have all the Pokemon, I can control all the things. Yeah, that's what happened with Pikachu too. Maybe he'll be like, what was his name? Was it, I think it was Drago Bloodfist in How to Train Your Dragon 2, where, like, he lost an arm to a dragon, and he was just like, yeah, you know what, screw these guys, I'm just gonna enslave them all and use them as tools and be evil and stuff. That's gonna be the Mayor Myers here. He's upsetty spaghetti that, like, Halloween this year hasn't been as sick. So he's doing this instead. Yeah, that's what happened with Pikachu too. Not that the PPB should give anyone special treatment, but even so. But yeah. Recently finished the Ace Attorney trilogy for the first time. Yeah, good quality mystery unraveling there. Isn't it so good? I love the Ace Attorney trilogy. I'd love to cover it on the channel one day, but I've discussed this before. But I think that it would be really fun to cover it, like, as part of a group and, like, a voice call, all doing, like, voices for the different characters and just screwing with one another. Like, I'm sure people have probably done serious voiceover dubs and stuff like that, most likely for it. I don't care about doing that. I want to get a whole group of people, do the different voices, and just screw around with one another and have fun with it, you know? Because, you know, it's just a visual novel kind of game. There isn't all that much added to it that comes from doing a playthrough of it, especially not going into it blind. Like, if I covered something like the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, I'd be going into that blind, and then I could actually be surprised. But any of the other Ace Attorney titles, I would not be going into blind, and then, like, okay, what's the entertainment in that of just seeing someone read out the lines that already knows what's going to happen? You know, like, that's... I don't feel like that would make all that entertaining of content, and that's why we haven't done Ace Attorney on the channel up to this point. But, you know, I think it'd be fun to do as a group one day, like, all just screwing around with different voices, and, you know, and it'd be fun to see, like, some of the people in the group that might be going into it blind. But I quite enjoyed the Ace Attorney trilogy, and I do like how, like, the third title properly wrapped things up there, you know, across the whole trilogy. And then there was, like, and then for the games from there, excluding the spin-off titles, in terms of mainline Ace Attorney titles, there was, like, Apollo's game, then Athena's game, then Apollo's second game, basically. Apparently, they recently released the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, like, just a couple weeks ago, interestingly enough. Even though, you know, the middle game is basically Athena's game, and, like, the first and third ones are Apollo's, essentially. But, yeah, so... there's a remastered trilogy of both of the trilogies there, which is kind of neat. It just makes me wonder if this is really the way they should be approaching this. So, what I'm interpreting here is I should go download Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy and just start shooting that. Can you tell me more about Chief Butler? I saw you together this afternoon. Do you two usually work together? Lately, yes, but it's not like we're shoulder to shoulder at every moment. Though, if I'm being honest, it does feel like he's got his eye on me. What do you mean by that? On the one hand, my job as a police inspector requires me to cooperate with the Pokémon Protection Bureau. But on the other, I don't agree with Butler's methods. I've said as much to Butler, but he just dismisses me and carries on unchanged. This has happened several times, and I fear it's made Chief Butler a bit wary of me. Wary enough to keep an eye on me and make sure I don't do anything unnecessary. Wow, sounds like things have been rough for you too, Inspector. Oh, the cube-shaped device. When I met with Pikachu, I noticed a cube-shaped device of some kind on his back. We had the opportunity to pocket so many. You know what that thing was? Those devices are attached to all Pokemon that have been detained. I've been told there's some sort of management tag for keeping track of the detained Pokemon. That's all I know, unfortunately. What? Even you don't fully know what those devices are? PPB has a lot of secrets, and they don't share them with anyone, not even the police. Their security is watertight too, so it's hard for me to investigate them independently. So, even you can't find out more, huh? But yeah, have you accurately predicted the plot? Gonna be so baffled? I probably wouldn't be surprised. Like, I feel like it's just one of those kinds of plots. You know anything about all that commotion last night, Inspector? Ah, you're talking about those Beedrill going berserk, right? That's under the PPB's jurisdiction. The police haven't been given any information about it. Interesting. We may cooperate with the PPB, but we're largely kept in the dark about their operations and plans. Thanks. If anyone knew something, I thought it would be you. I wish I could be more help. Oh no, not at all. I understand the situation better now, thanks to you. But yeah. Like, you wouldn't be mad at this plot if it weren't for all this filler. Yeah.
So that's the situation.
I mean, it really seems like the best way to experience,
Quite the place
like,
for a conversation,
an
gentlemen.
optimal, entertaining Detective Pikachu plot is to just go watch the movie. How long was that cutscene? Like 8 seconds, and then it just cuts back to here? What was the point? I don't get it. But yeah, like, anyone that actually wants, like, a good, well-paced, thoroughly entertaining Detective Pikachu story, just go watch the movie. You know? Like, yeah, straight up. I prefer the movie over the games. Like, usually original sources like video game or books are better than the movies. It's very rarely the other way around. I'd say that Detective Pikachu, the film, is a lot better than the games. And a case where the movies are better than the books, in my opinion, is How to Train Your Dragon. That's like my favorite movie trilogy of all time. And you know, I've read a little bit of the original book. I read the first book and then like half of the second, and I was like, wow, this is completely different. And they clearly just took like the key ideas for the movie and then just made like a completely different, unique film out of it. And it was a lot cooler in my opinion. So, you know, there's the one case where I think a film is better than a book. And here's a case where I feel like a film is definitely a lot better than the video game. Like, it's still so strange that a movie got made for Detective Pikachu. Like, I know that there's a good handful of video game movies that are made all the time, you know, or even like shows are starting to take off for gaming stuff nowadays as well. But it's usually off of like one specific big game. It's usually not like Pokemon's really big, but they usually wouldn't be doing something like making a movie out of one of their most niche and least known video games. You know, one of their least known spin-offs that they had done at the time. You know, that very few people had even heard about. Especially considering, like, the Switch had already come out by the time that it released on the 3DS in the West. And I was like, are making a movie out of that game of all things? Really? And the movie slapped. The movie was good. You know, it was a pretty good movie. Then the games that they're based on are just not. It's so weird. Like, usually when you make a movie or a show out of a game, there's so much stuff that you need to cut out. You know, I've seen a lot of criticisms for, like, various video game movies and shows where it's just like, yep, they just copy-pasted, like, some of the stuff that's there, but, like, made worse versions that you can just go experience in the game for free. Like, this was something that I saw in one of my favorite film critique channels is Filmento, and I remember seeing his review on the Uncharted movies, as with him being like a player of the Uncharted games, and he was talking about scenes like the auction house scene, where it's like, if you want a better experience, you can just go and, you know, watch the auction house scene from the game on YouTube for free, and it's like a better experience where there's like more action and stuff going on and all that. So, you know, a lot of games will just like, or a lot of film based off of games will just copy a lot of things while doing it worse without introducing a lot of stuff that's new. That was one of the things I praised about the Uncharted movie, was like the two ships like flying through the air at the end. Like, here's something original and new that brings you to go to the film that you can't experience in the games. Like, here's something that's actually a little bit unique to that instead of just being like a carbon copy. But you know, it's strange in that, you know, Detective Pikachu the film is kind of, it's almost similar to How to Train Your Dragon in the sense that it took like some key ideas and plot points and made a different plot out of it and made something that slaps a lot harder than the games originally did, when the game source material is just like so much different. It's weird. I don't know how best to phrase this, you know. Yeah, it did. I own them somewhere around here, like a good handful of them. They were designed as children's novels with like occasional little graphics in them and stuff. So I started reading them in like late elementary, early junior high school or something like that. But even at that age, it felt like they were designed for a audience younger than I. And in the books, it basically started out at the point of like the end of the film where it's like, oh yeah, Vikings and dragons are best friends. That's the way that the book started out. And like, it's up to each Viking to like befriend a dragon that's going to like, you know, be their companion forever. And that's where the How to Train Your Dragon part comes from, is it was about Hiccup like training his dragon. And he had like a tiny little itty bitty thing that didn't even have any teeth, and that's why it was called Toothless. When, you know, Toothless in the movie clearly does have teeth, but you know, he thought they didn't at first, and that's where they got the excuse for calling him Toothless. But in the books, it's because he was a little itty bitty toothless dragon that didn't obey him. Also, the dragons could speak, so Toothless would like straight up talk to Hiccup and be like, yeah, I'm not doing what you're asking me to do, screw that. You know, it was odd. Like, so like all the main characters and stuff are, you know, in the books, but, you know, the one character that had like a major change is, you know, Toothless into the massive ferocious Night Fury from the like the little itty bitty thing. Can I find a picture of Toothless from the books? Because I know that there was graphics there. So that was an example of basically just taking ideas but making a completely different story out of it. You know, like the story of Detective Pikachu wasn't completely different. It was about like half similar, half different in the film. But I do honestly like what they changed. Let's see here. How to Train Your Dragon book. Toothless. Let's see here. Can I? Yeah, this here. Hold on, let's turn on display capture for a hot second. Yeah, this was Toothless, apparently. This little itty bitty thing, apparently. Like, it's odd. So, I don't remember much about it, but I remember that I read the first book, and maybe a little smidge of the second, but I could not get into it. I'm realizing that my camera's blocking this. It wasn't quite for me. Like, it just felt like maybe more of like a fun children's story kind of thing. And maybe that's what's going on with the games here, is maybe they're just designed to be like fun children's detective games because of like how insanely handholdy they are, you know. So maybe that's all that's going on here, is just like, hey, here's a book series that's clearly intended as like children's stories. Here's a game series that's clearly intended as like baby's first detective game. Both of which get made into films that can be enjoyed by like general audiences or something like that, and that's why the film slapped. I don't know. I don't know if I'm articulating things well here, but yeah, maybe that's what's going on with both of those. And yeah, both those films were pretty darn good. Well, if it isn't The Young Detective. Surprise. Evening, Chief Butler. Can I help you with something, Chief? Oh, I just happened to be passing by. But while I'm here, Inspector Holliday, I hope you're not making rash decisions without consulting me first. Wouldn't dream of it. What decisions would he be able to make? I thought he doesn't have jurisdiction here because he's part of the police and not part of the PPL. Whatever it is. Glad to hear it. After all, it's vital that the Bureau and the police both follow proper procedure. In any case, I'll excuse myself now. I didn't need a fade through black for him to turn. Not like he had an animation for turning, but I still don't understand why it faded through black for Tim to turn 9 degrees that one time. I find it hard to believe he just happened to be passing by at this exact moment. This is what I mean when I say he's got his eye on me. You be careful out there, Tim. Nothing good will come of it if Chief Butler sets his sights on you. So that's what you've been trying to tell me. I'm worried about you and Pikachu. Unfortunately, can't do much in openly helping you in my current situation. Why? Why not? But I know you'll figure out how to prove Pikachu's innocence. I believe. Like, I'm sure there's some things that he can do, more information that he can give me. You know, thank you, Inspector. I guess maybe he just means, like, can't exactly free Pikachu because that isn't his jurisdiction. I'll see you later, Tim. Bye. Pikachu started acting weird when the cube-shaped device started glowing. I was told it's just a tag for management purposes, but I'm not so sure about that. It took you this long to figure it out? Wow. I'm getting cold, so I'm adjusting this blanket that's over my legs. The witness statements I heard about Pikachu raised some questions as well. Maybe I'll learn something if I ask around about the other Pokemon that were detained. That said, there aren't many people out and about at this time of day. And why would random people out and about know about the detained Pokemon? Oh, might still be customers at the Hi Hat Cafe. I'll head over there. Okay. Oh, there it is.